Yo, what is going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of the Respect the Game podcast. My name is Edward. Great decision by my mother, naming me after my father, a real true OG. Shout out to my grandmother too. Please, as always, stop what you're doing. And even if you have already and you are a returning listener, just send at Emax Stacks, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. Just send that to somebody so they can make sure that they're following at Emax Stats for all the up-to-date sports coverage, whether that be high school, whether that be college, and most definitely the pros. And now, as we pulling into we're actually here in July, definitely follow me for all the up-to-date Olympic coverage. Yeah, man. So that's who I be. As always, we don't take y'all listening for granted in no way, shape, or form. Whether you like the conversation we're having or hate the conversation that we're having, we promise you when we get done having the conversation, nonetheless, we will respect it. I normally would toss it to Sha'Carri Izzo, who probably is not going to be with us tonight, but our dog's still breathing. So we'll be back at full strength next week. So that would toss it off to the blackest one.
And then also the most peaceful, of course. It's the one and only Black Peace, the host with the most that blows the most smoke. Of course, you can check my own personal hip hop podcast, Talking Smoke, #1 in your search. Definitely fuck with me on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Anywhere you just find dope ass podcasts, you can find your boy at. So once again, it's called Talking Smoke. That's what we're doing, baby. It's me. I'm talking that smoke.
What's going on, everyone? This is Coach Johnson. I am glad to be back for a second week in a row. I am the husband of Jordan. I am the father of Harper and Deuce. I am here to bring the controversy and to help you reason out your ideas just a little bit better and to help you think just a little bit differently.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. I am the one and only Sedacious Xavier Miles, and on behalf of me and my brothers, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in and always listening. We really appreciate it. We don't take it for granted. And that's no bullshit. I know I say that every week, but it's because it really comes from the heart, man. We wouldn't be doing this without y'all. So take it away, Edward.
Yo, man, we're going to kick it off to Coach Johnson. Coach Johnson, I know we got the conversation was getting good before we started the podcast, so we had to make sure that we saved it for the audience. Coach Johnson, what did you respect or not respect this week?
So I'm going to start with a high note, something that I respected. Everyone knows that whenever I come in here, I talk about basically everything, any and everything except for music. But this past weekend, I finally heard, I know I'm like 2-3 years late, Kanye West Sunday service. And I've been playing it for the last 4 days, and it has blessed my soul. I highly respect it this week. It was every song, every performance that I watched, amazing. It's funny, I showed my wife and she thought it was a joke. I was like, no, this is serious. And then after a while she got into it and she started telling people, hey, have you heard? And they're like, yeah, we've heard about that. And so, so it's amazing. So yeah, that's what I respect. So I know Talking Smoke, Darnell, Black Peace, I know we wanted to get into Kanye's history with gospel music.
I mean, for one thing, he's Chicago mama's boy that went to church pretty much every Sunday, man. He doesn't deny it. And I feel like in his first 3 albums, first one was College Dropout.
Yeah.
Like I say, at least a third of that album was definitely gospel-esque, if not gospel. He has Jesus Walks. He has a couple of songs where it's like talking about his family. And when he's talking about his family, he gets more of that gospel aura. As I'm sorry, Live, can you unmute for a second and enlighten me with that vocabulary you dropped on me real quick?
What you mean? What did I say?
The category of music that you would consider early Kanye, because it's definitely not middle.
Contemporary.
Say it again? Contemporary, exactly. I do admit he definitely does enough to where it is definitely considered hip hop, but it definitely doesn't go away too way from gospel music for sure. He's always talked about his connection with God, whether it be good or bad. It just so happens that, as he's made his connection with God closer as of late, is just, he's found his way to get straight gospel and to be comfortable with straight gospel. Yeah. And to, honestly, I feel like he kind of, I ain't going to say that. I can't even say he found his way to get there, but he took advantage of an opportunity of being able to, be able to do his gospel now, full blown. I feel like he always kind of wanted to, but he know how things work. So he had to like find that point of like, I'm comfortable, I can do this music now, and it's going to be good. And that's exactly what it was. Like I listened to that album one time, and honestly, that's all it took. And I've been keeping an eye on his Sunday performances. And I mean, it's been pretty enlightening.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Christian, I'm gonna make it simple and plain for you. You embody who Kanye is, bro. That's why you appreciate it. You embody niggas who loved Kanye. First 3 albums, look at Kanye with that MAGA hat on, like, this nigga tripping. What's wrong with him? But the Christian would be like, no, he ain't tripping. I'm right there with him. I fuck with him. And then Kanye will come off that MAGA shit and be like, yeah, no, I was crazy. I was going crazy. But you niggas need to get it together. And so that's what you are. You're like, yo, you know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, I'm not trying to make y'all feel like I'm crazy. I just need you niggas to get it together around me. Because y'all driving me crazy. Y'all driving me nuts.
A beautiful comparison.
Can I respond to Donnell real quick though? Because I've only listened to maybe 5 albums all the way through ever in my lifetime. 3 of them were Kanye's first 3 albums. Whenever I go on long drives, a definite album that I'm listening to from start to finish is Late Registration.
Yes, you are.
I have done this since I was in college. I don't know why Kanye. I've loved those first 3 albums, right? But was Kanye West a gospel rapper, semi-gospel rapper? No, far from it. Nowhere near it. Not even gonna get. Yeah, Jesus Walks. And then Spaceships, where the intro is a gospel song that other people sing. But other than that, maybe he alludes to God maybe once or twice in a lyric, not even the song itself. He talks about his family. Roses on Late Registration is one of my freaking joints.
Oh my God, that's a classic.
I think Kanye, if you ask Kanye himself, he wouldn't even tell you that he would admit, and he pretty much admitted this in some of the performances that he did when he talked about his transformation, that he was a very different person than what he is now. His relationship with God was very different than what it is now, and you can definitely see that. You can also see, it's funny too that the music that I love of him, right, when it comes to political messaging, is very, very far left political messaging. Heard Him Say is a very leftist lyrics in there. But I love the song. I love those albums. A lot of that stuff, the conspiracy stuff that it kind of gets into is very leftist, even though I'm a very right-wing guy when it comes to politics. But those 3 albums, I love them to death. And so that might be the only musical talk I can get into you with you, Donnell, is hey, what's up?
Hey,
mama.
I mean, I feel what you're saying, but he gives off that vibe of
shout out
kid
AKK,
that went to church
man.
every day. He gives off that vibe in every album that he's that kid that went to church every day.
Yeah,
it's basically what I'm saying. And with that being said, it's still gonna rub off to where you can't shake off God. That's what I'm basically saying. Like, if you're truly God, even if you're saying this secular stuff, people are gonna look past that, like myself, and gonna say, like, Kanye, you go to church, bro. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. And it's not shaming you at all. It's just more of like shaming him at all. It's more just like a common fact. It's like people that know me, it's like, I know you may have this and that, but at some point you was raised in that church because it's the way you carry yourself. Yeah. And that's one thing I'm saying. Like, even the way he rapped, the way he carried himself, even being outspoken, that's what a preacher / pastor does. They're very outspoken. So it's like, it may not have been exactly like, oh, I'm preaching the gospel, but his swagger, his demeanor was very church-esque. And like, when he did that gospel album, I was like, dude, this is another Kanye album. He just didn't curse. He didn't get secular. Like, this is amazing. Even when he does his own with Sunday service, I'm like, this is just Kanye being Kanye. This is not necessarily a big, gigantic leap, in my opinion. This is him on God, period. This is Kanye on God. This is not a different person, which you usually see with other people. This is like he just came back. He came back with full throttle back to God. So that's basically what I'm saying. I'm not saying he was like, oh, every verse was like, just like, oh man, God this, God that. It was just like, no, you was raised in that church, bro. We know. We see it on you.
I get that. This will be the last thing, or we can move on. But your comment of saying it's Kanye just with God. I thought about that when I was listening to a few of his songs where he sampled a bunch of other stuff and just made it gospel music, right? Like Overjoyed from Stevie Wonder, and he made it into a gospel song. Say My Name from Destiny's Child made it into a gospel song. Ballin' with Roddy Ricch made it into a gospel song. I was like, man, this is Kanye, like, this is Kanye. And like
on God.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not like a dab at Jesus.
Yeah. No.
Kanye on God.
Yeah. So it was good. Edward, you want me to get into my disrespect?
Yep.
So the thing that I did not respect this weekend, everybody knows it was 4th of July. It was the our annual celebration of the birth of America. And there's lately been a lot of hate on the day. And so I am disrespecting that. I do not have any respect for that. But here's my advice to those who are opposed to the 4th of July, opposed to Independence Day, opposed to the founding of our nation. My advice to you, do not concede patriotism to the side that you disagree with. Even you can think whatever you want to think about America. You can look at America and you can look at this narrative of America and you say, hey, America is not all that it's cracked up to be. Okay, that's fine, right? It's a free country. You can think what you want to think. As someone who wants to see us be as great as we possibly can, right? And I think that the best way to do that is by having as many voices at the table as possible. I do not want to concede patriotism only to MAGA folk. Okay, if the only people who are celebrating the 4th of July, who have flags outside their house or on the back of their truck, are MAGA people, then something is going wrong. All of us who are here need to accept patriotism. A part of being a patriot is, critiquing the country, but bringing out the best in it. So every year, do not come out with this is not my 4th of July. It is your 4th of July. Our ancestors built this. This is our nation too. Every war that we've been in, we have fought. We have bled. The first person to die for this country was a Black person. So this is ours. Let's celebrate it. Let's be a part of it. Even if you disagree with some things that are happening, do not concede patriotism to the other side. That's all I got.
Right on.
All right, Christian. So, I agree. Black people, get the fuck over yourself. Jesus Christ, man. Like, god damn, y'all find every fucking way to be a victim. I'm so tired of it. Like, fucking put your big boy pants on or something. Like, I'm tired of this shit, bro. Like, I really am. Like, y'all do this shit so much, bro, that we don't have room to highlight when we are really being oppressed or we are really being discriminated against, bro. Like, how long have we been having 4th of July? How long have we been having 4th of July? Y'all didn't do shit on Juneteenth. Y'all sat on Juneteenth. And then when it came to 4th of July, it's like, like, no. Juneteenth, they made it a national holiday. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's only for Texas motherfuckers. They gave it to everybody, right? They gave it to you. You had time, party, Kool-Aid, watermelon. Even though you ain't go through shit, you ain't go through 5 years of extra slavery, they gave it to you. Cool. But when it comes to 4th of July, let these white people have their fun, man. You're supposed to like get into the fun with them, not be like, oh, see, you over there having fun on 4th of July? You're racist. Like, come on, man. Like, the shit is getting exhausting, bro. It really is. And like, I'm the realest nigga I know. So any nigga think that he a real nigga, he too hood, he too thuggish, he too any of that, bro, come talk to me. And I will show you just how fucking ignorant you are, bro. Like, this shit is like really getting like, whoa, bro, like to have to like, cause y'all ain't doing shit but giving Christian more ammo to come fuck with me. And I'm tired of it, bro. I'm really tired of it. That's it. That's my take. I'm done. Like, come on, man. Get over yourself. Fuck. Either be the change or shut the fuck up and stay out of the way. That's how I feel. Either be the change, be the example. All you're doing is you're making Black people have to be counterproductive and counterintuitive. We have to put our brain and our actions on shit that matters not to our process moving forward, our onward and upward. If you are not aiding in the onward and upward of Black people, shut the motherfuck up. Thank you.
Where is Sha'Carri Izzo when you need some controversy?
Hey. I could have said that.
I'm a kind of level out the
Yeah, go ahead.
The mood,
Please,
just the
please.
mood, more the mood. You know, I'm not here to agree or disagree, but I just feel like I understand the people, but at this point, it's like we want change, and at the end of the day, whether it's the change we want, we got change. Things have been done. We're moving forward. Presidential. Whether it be justice, no matter what it is, things are actually getting figured out. And at the end of the day, that's showing what America truly is. It's showing our perseverance, things that we have come from and still be able to prevail from. And at the end of the day, whether it's something recent or not, us trying to move forward and try to make positive moves should make us be more patriotic of this country, whether we like it or not. We've been through hard times, recent and in the past, you know, but at the end of the day, it's like, the fact that we're still able to try to move forward should be enough of, you know, to make you want to say, I love this country. It may hurt us, but at the end of the day, we still love this country. And we do have to realize that some countries, of me saying what I'm saying, I will get beheaded the next moment, you know, I step out of this room. You know what I'm saying? And it's one of those things where it's like, it's a tough thing.
All right.
And,
Let's stay. I'm sorry.
But we gotta love where we from. I mean, but
all
basically, right. We just gotta love where we from, man. We basically gotta just accept the fact that we're moving forward. Sorry, I got a little dark, but yeah.
No. So
sometimes you gotta go through the dark to get to the light.
So the firecrackers popping again. They popping firecrackers in Atlanta, y'all. So that's why Edward keep muting. He live where the niggas live, clearly.
Wondering why. Like, what's going on?
They said it was like for a whole week.
Mute.
Yeah, but like he was saying, man, just, you know, I agree with both of my brothers here, man. Like, we got to move forward. And at the end of the day, no matter what the pace is, forward is forward. Now, when things get ugly, when things get more bad, you know, I mean, we can deal with it when it comes to it. But yeah.
Go ahead, Edward.
So let me try to cut in for the firecracker start back up. Right. So normally, Sedacious, in these situations, you play like devil's advocate, or you speak for the people, or the voice that isn't necessarily on this podcast, right? So like, obviously the yin and the yang of the podcast is like Christian and Isaac. So obviously Sha'Carri Izzo not gonna be on tonight. And I'm not speaking for Sha'Carri Izzo.
Right, but you're coming from that angle. We feel you.
But I'm coming from an angle that may reside in like the Sha'Carri Izzo fan base, right?
Oh no, yes sir.
And these topics, right?
And so the devil advocate people, I feel you.
Even more so, devil advocate people, because I don't want to put words in Sha'Carri Izzo mouth. So Black Peace, yo, we live in America. Like, yo, don't you understand that like we could be beheaded in some countries for what we are doing or what we're saying, right? What do you say to that person, that devil advocate person who says or makes the comparison of being beheaded to being killed in the street due to police brutality?
That's law. And straight like that, because that's their law. It's nothing about a decision or someone being bold enough to do it. It's straight law over there. So it's just, I think our laws are fucked up. Sometimes it's some things we got to deal with, but at the end of the day, we're willing to deal with them. We gotta accept that, you know. This is
We're
America.
looking for the number one answer on the board. It's sudden death. Law. That's it.
As well, Edward, I would say to that too. In these other countries, when someone is beheaded for saying something like what we're saying, right, or something like that, there is not a nationwide protest against those beheadings. There's not a call of action from the highest elites in the country against those actions. Yeah, he's reacting to the basketball game, you know. That's
of course,
right.
Of course.
I don't like it because it's behind me.
That's the difference between other countries and America. When something grotesque or something that is that is immoral, that is that's a human violation. In this country, a significant portion of the country does not take that. They don't sit down. They're not quiet about it, right? They try to move heaven and earth to make sure everyone knows that that's not okay. And so and also too, even the people that are protested against, they sit there and protect the right for the people who are protesting against them to protest. That happens here. It doesn't happen anywhere else.
Right. The police actually protect you while you protest against them. Yeah, that's what happens.
There have been muddy waters, don't get me wrong, but the overall idea is to, move forward. So I honestly felt that exact way about the whole day. I was kind of thinking by myself, like, do I go negative? How do I feel? Do I think about the past? And it's like, bro, we're moving forward, bro. Like, shit, Juneteenth, presidential elections,
What killed me, bro, is that niggas be so hurt. Bro, I walked outside. All of Houston looked like niggas was smoking everywhere. All of Houston. I'm like, I couldn't see street signs because it was so fucking smoky. And I'm like, y'all so bad, but having a gay old time out here in the streets popping these fucking fireworks. y'all so oppressed. But y'all just pow, 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 pow. Oh my God, black people confusing.
I want to move on into, I guess, another hot topic within the black community, talking about Sha'Carri Richardson. All right. I think
started on that shit.
So, all right, man. So, if you choose from this moment forward, with all four of us, and Sean Hart is in spirit now that he's dead, on this podcast, if you choose to continuously be a fan and return next week, I ask of all of y'all out there on the behalf of all my brothers is to no longer allow yourself to be subject to the limited information. And I don't even think at this point that we should call it information, but do not limit yourself to the limited screen and snapshots of social media that can be cultivated into being called information. All right. So, Sha'Carri Richardson, 21 years old. Sha'Carri Richardson, 21 years old. In the Olympic trials, she came in number one in the 100-meter dash. She obviously historic moment, big moment, got love from everybody across the world. Michelle Obama had the very emotional moment talking about the recent passing of her biological mother after their race. Wins the race. She's off to Tokyo to compete in the Olympics for the United States track team and hopefully bring home gold. Maybe a day or two later, it got reported, she is not being disqualified from the Olympics. Wording is important. She is not being disqualified, but she will be suspended for a month. Why? Because there was marijuana found in her system after a drug test. If you look out social media, Black Twitter, you will see a lot of the sentiment, and I don't even think it's a reach to say that, but a lot of the sentiment being, she's Black, They don't want someone like her, long weave and long colorful hair with long lashes and tattoos. They don't want someone like her representing the United States because she's black, and she did this black, she did that black, and she did that black. And that's why they want to cancel her from being able to run in the Olympics. I looked at that and I was just like, all right, let's try to decipher through this information as, you know, as careful as we can. Because if you just stop at social media, you'll think that there's some racist shit going on in the Olympics right now, right? There's racism being pinned against Sha'Carri Richardson, and that's why they don't want to allow her to go to the Olympics. They made up this drug test, for crying out loud, right? And before I even continue, I want to say this conversation is not it's about her, but it is in no way casting judgment or any type of opinion about her. If anything, Sha'Carri Richardson admitted to the fact, one, I did smoke weed. The reason I did it is because I was struggling dealing with the recent knowing of my mother, and that information was given to me by a stranger, a reporter, as I'm trying to do my job and prepare for the Olympics and sit down and be available to the media. A stranger of a reporter told me my mother just passed. I don't know this guy from a can of paint. He just said, hey, however it went, yeah, you did good, 100 meters qualified for the Olympics, you're going off to Tokyo. With all that, how do you feel about your mom being dead now? Oh, no one told her? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, how do you feel about it? All right, so she's going through all this traumatic experience. I dread that day. I hope I get to bury my parents versus them burying me, but I dread the day that has to come for me, myself, personally. Yo, I'm not perfect. Y'all feel free to be perfect if that's what you want to do. I knew the consequences of my actions, and I still chose to do what I wanted to do. This is Sha'Carri Richardson, a 21-year-old young adult who is willing to do what most of y'all won't when y'all fuck up in life and throw rocks at a glass house and try to hide your hands. She has stood in the midst of her own responsibility and said, yo, I'm gonna take that. I'm going through some things right now, and it is what it is. She hasn't asked for nobody's sympathy. She hasn't asked for black people, white people, purple people, green people to support her in no way, shape, or form. And she said it's been about racism that the drug test came up. Again, she admitted, yo, I fired up the blunt. My mama just passed. I'm fucked up right now. Not her words, but, you know, I'm Ebonics, you know. I'm messed up right now.
Of course.
This is what I had to do to try to mentally prepare myself for this Olympic trial. One may even argue, I've never smoked weed before, but one may even argue, yo, if she came to the Olympic trials high, that is a great accomplishment by herself that she smoked everybody. No pun intended. You know what I'm saying? But again, this conversation being about the Black community, like, why do we try to? Why do y'all think that conversation immediately went to it's because she's racist? Considering the fact, like, they didn't randomly say, hey, we don't like you, you won, and you look suspicious, or we don't like your image, let's drug test you. This happens to the top 3 finishers in any Olympic trial. You get drug tested, point blank, period. Again, whether you're black, white, green, or purple, you get drug tested if you finish in the top 3. Like, that's just a part of the standard situation. Like, nobody's exempt from that. And so today, and again, it wasn't that she was banned, but it wasn't that she was suspended. She was suspended, but it's not that she was disqualified. So with her suspension, it was for a month. The exact day that she had got suspended after the run was July 19th. So from that time, her finishing it for the 100-meter dash, like, that was voided, found marijuana, weed, and her drug test. And had she decided to come back after the suspension, that would have still given her the opportunity to compete in the 4x1 relay. And so it came out today, the U.S. Olympic track team roster, it came out today, the official roster, and Sha'Carri was not on that list. Now, is that a situation of like, well, they just didn't want her, or whatever the case may be? The way it works is the top 4 finishers of like whatever country's team, and like the individual races automatically secure like the 4 spots and like the 4x1 or whatever relay. Then you have 2 alternates or whatever that the actual Olympic relay coach gets to pick. And they chose not to pick Sha'Carri Richardson, picking other people who had, who were on the team who didn't necessarily fall subject to, failing a drug test, which is absolutely fine. So I said all that to preference people. Like, again, if you just leave it up to social media, you would think she got disqualified because the color of her skin, which is absolutely not the case. For some reason, I don't understand why we always go there. And I think on the opposite side of that, I don't know where the fear lies, but I feel like if we don't acknowledge that it could be racism, people will feel like black people will forget about racism altogether. I don't think that's the case. I see you, Black Peace. I don't think that's the case, but I think it's a very toxic way of like looking at things, or for whoever doesn't really go out there and do their own research. So yeah, man. Y'all take from there with it. Y'all take it away. Yeah.
All I gotta say is, we've talked. We've been talking for a while, even before we had this podcast, and you would hear my rant on, how frustrated I was with Black folks and stuff like that, and so I always share all of my thoughts and my reasoning behind it, and you would just listen and be like, okay, you just let me have it, and you wouldn't come back and be like, don't say that nowhere else because they won't call you a coon. This you dumb. And so I'm not sure if I'm making it fashionable to speak this way, but it's I don't know. It's nice to not feel alone anymore. But I can't continue on without doing my Stephen A. Smith. Get off the but hey, so you asked why do Black people why do we do this thing where we always anytime anything happens to a Black person, oh, it's racism. There's an idea from these psychologists out of Israel called the perpetual in-group victimhood orientation, and basically it's where either someone inside of a group or a few people inside of any group have been victimized legitimately at some point, right? And after a while, they never really get over that victimization, and so they always look with trepidation or they're not trusting of the out group, right? And so anything the out group does, they always think that it is with intention to harm the in group. Okay. And now this is not just for Black people. This happens all over the place. I promise you, I know white MAGA folks who feel this way. Okay. Yep. I in the Republican groups that I'm in, January 6th was this. Okay. But so what I think that this is a part of that, of what they're talking about, the in-group victimhood orientation, because for some reason, always, anytime anything happens, there can never be a legitimate reason why something bad might happen to someone who's Black. It's always, it's racism. It's the group doing it because they're Black. It's always some nefarious reason, and the Black person is never at fault. So I think that's something that psychologists here in America need to look at and try to see, hey, is that a thing and how can we get over that? But I don't think that anyone will risk their tenured position at a university for that study. So,
no. And so look, before y'all go, Dacius or Darnell, so to what I just said, what Christian just said, one of the comments I had seen out there was that I guess a reason stand with Sha'Carri Richardson, you know, support her, da 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 da. Like I seen a few comments out there, it's like, oh, y'all as Black people, y'all don't understand like not correcting your own kind in front of company, right? And so I was just like, I see the sentiment and like that take, but like when do we actually do it then? You know,
Never.
like
Never.
you know what I'm saying?
Never do it.
You know what I'm saying?
Never do
Because
it.
because imagine like, again, thank you, Sha'Carri Richardson, for accepting the consequences. I granted the circumstances you were under that led you to do that. I understand. Can't nobody tell you how to deal with the grief of losing your parent. Point blank. Period. Obviously, then like the argument goes to like, oh man, it's just weed or whatever. Like that should be adjusted in some way, shape, or form. And then you have people like for me, like I kind of felt like I understood why she did it, and I was sympathetic to that. But like at the same time, like understanding like where she at, and you could even argue, if you want to have that argument, oh she was white, da 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 da, and like, yo, like I wish Sha'Carri Izzo was on here because he commented under a post that I seen from like Sports Center, and like there's this argument like if you're Black and you subscribe to rules are rules, off with your head. and I'm just like, so I can't really be Black if I feel like rules are rules.
And have standard and structure. I can't have standard and structure be a part of my life and be Black too. That's what you're saying.
Hey, listen.
Our ancestors been telling us our whole lives that we have to work double the amount to get half of what they get, and she get to just smoke weed? Hell no. She took it like a champ. And she went and sat down. For you to be still mad about it, now we on your ass now.
Now we on your ass. And here's the thing too, right? Considering all that she's gone through mentally, think about this. If she was distraught as she was, to think, Sha'Carri, no, your mama just passed, boo, her talking to herself, you spark up this L, mate. If you smoke this weed right now, it may cost you going to Tokyo. It's gonna have to be what it's gonna be. What makes you even think at that point she care about Tokyo?
Yeah, she might not. I mean, also, I mean, man, you know,
she didn't.
I don't even know. This is the first time I
said if I get caught, fuck him.
Yeah, this is actually the first time because I haven't been following it. Like y'all know, I've been in my little hole, so I really don't know what's going on above the surface. But the fact that, you know, she had this high moment that she was going after, and then immediately afterwards she hears about her mom from somebody just trying to ask her a question, trying to get a gotcha, right? And we've talked about reporters on the show before. So, you know, I can see how anyone, but especially a 21-year-old, especially a 21-year-old who, you know, probably her mom was the one taking her to her track meets when she was younger. Probably her mom was the one who maybe made her stay out after practice a few times and say, hey, that practice wasn't good enough. Probably her mom who didn't let her go out and play, or who didn't let her run at one of her meets because she didn't do her homework. There's probably, you know, something along the way that, hey, I wouldn't have got here, you know, without her, and now I can't celebrate with her. And I find out from this fool. Right? You know, that's hard to take. So we can understand why she would go do that. And then also too, her having the attitude, hey, I'm only 21. I probably would go there and win the gold. I'll be 25 at the next round.
I'll be eligible for the world of, I think, is it called the World Championships? It's something in between.
Well, I'll be eligible for the Worlds next year. My name is out there. People know me. F it. I'll take my chances. Because this is what I got, and this is what I know. Yeah. So I get that. But also too, her taking the responsibility, hey, look, consequences, Black folks, consequences, or actions do have consequences. They do. She was rewarded for many actions that she took prior to that. by winning spot onto the team, being slotted to probably win a gold at 21. She understands that there are consequences and rewards for actions, and so she understood that. She's moved on. She probably training again for the next.
Already,
you know what I'm saying?
already. And again, this isn't this isn't about picking at her or why did she do this. We understand and we support why she did. This is about everybody else who's making it.
We on y'all ass. We on y'all ass.
Everybody that's on the bandwagon. Oh, let's support her. Let's support her. Let's support her.
Let her run.
No, let's learn from her. Everybody who's trying to bandwagon to come out and protest against the Olympic Committee and protest against the U.S. Team and all this stuff. No, let's not get behind her. Let's learn from her. She understands that actions have consequences and rewards. We must learn that, and we must learn that. Hey, we gotta go with it. Go ahead, brother.
So back to what I was saying earlier. So this is the problem that I have with Black people, bro. Is that, you know what I'm saying? This is not the time. She was not the time to get upset. It's some other stories that's going on with the Olympics that, yeah, we need to visit this shit. You know what I mean? But we waste time, guys, when we're arguing shit that we really have no business arguing. And it's like, and then I'm gonna sit back like this is, for example, I'm white. I'm gonna be like, okay, so you niggas just mad all the time then, because you mad when she fuck up and you mad when we fuck up. So y'all niggas just mad all the time, bro. Like, we can't really do anything. We just gonna be racist for forever, and it's just like, fuck it. Fuck y'all having to put in work for us to see y'all in a different light. Yeah, just be mad and allow us to just look at y'all mad as fuck about the wrong shit. And then when y'all mad for the right shit, you cry wolf 355 times already. Fuck y'all being mad. That's what happens. Now when we get on these other conversations about these women and their testosterone, no, y'all want to stay stuck on this girl smoking weed, bro. Like, and she already was like, oh, no, I'm good. Fuck it. Yeah, I smoke weed. My mom died. Suck my dick. You know what I mean? So, like, what we look like trying to fight a fight. She's not even fighting.
There are some women in the Olympics.
There's only one fight to fight, and that's to legalize marijuana in sports, period. I mean, my opinion, which is like a certain portion of people that are actually getting outspoken by the color throwing people, is the fact that why is a drug that doesn't harm you and is legal in, I believe, about 13 to 18 U.S. states and in certain countries around the world, being technically shamed at this point with something that technically doesn't even affect your actual sport. There's been plenty of people. Who is it? Matt Barnes. Who is it? Michael Phelps. Who else? Steven Jackson, Le'Veon Bell. Plenty of these. Ricky Williams. Ricky Williams even got to a point where, he even got to a certain point where he smoked, retired, came back and proved that that does not affect his body or the way he performs as an athlete. To show you, I took a whole break and came to play on professional level. I did not get a championship, but I still competed at a starting level, which some players can't even reach to the starting level at running back. So it is one of the things where it just baffles me to where it's like, you know, yeah, I get at one point it wasn't a legal substance around the world, but at this point, things are moving forward. This is something that's, you know, shouldn't even be bothered, in my opinion. Like 18 states, and the fact that she did it in a legal state, that's where I feel like the loophole should come into clause. Not just for her. Christ, it could have been an Asian girl. Whoever, Asian, white, black, like you said, purple, green, and no matter who it could have been. It's the fact that, dude, think like forward. Life is moving forward. We can't keep trying to go back if we're trying to move forward. So that's how I feel about it. I don't care about her being black, white, whatever. It could be anybody. I was going to be up to here with it.
Can I add to your point? And thank you for that, Darnell. That's why you Black Peace. Because you invoke a certain thought. Why is it that she is in a state where it is legal for her to use this as a coping mechanism? It's literally medicine at this point in this state. And this is the tip.
It's listed as, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it is listed as depression.
Huh? Is listed as what?
It's in the list of medical reasons for using marijuana. Depression is one of them. I'm out.
Right. So it's pretty much a medicine right here. But this is what Stephen A. Smith wouldn't even be right, bro, because it's like, one, a stranger came up to me to tell me some unsettling news, very unsettling. And two, it's the medicine at my corner, like typically at my corner store, but not at a corner store. You got to go wherever you got to go. But it's the medicine at my corner store for me to go and instantly be able to cope with this and then get back into my craft. And so I decided to do it that way, legally, not illegally. And since these, I guess, protocols were written back when the Greek motherfuckers was in the Olympics, then we gotta, oblige. Not that, okay, the world is changing. Thank you, Donnell. The world is changing. Certain people that might be coming to try out, they might have a system full of weed. You know what I mean? And we just might have to, when they get their test, look at them as opposed to where they are and where everybody else is and be like, oh, okay, you live in Oregon, the weed is okay for you. If you in Texas and you go and try for the Olympics in Texas and they get your ass in Texas, we on your ass, bro, double time, because now you disappointed us as a culture. But with Sha'Carri, it's not the same thing, and that's why it's a little bit more sour, because
I think the argument is really like just like jurisdiction or like local and federal law. You know what I'm saying? Like you got, whatever world regulations or the US Olympics inside the United States regulations, but then you have this umbrella of like the actual world.
And so it's in
Olympics.
Then I need you to go and get Amsterdam's bylaws and bring them over here and bring everybody in Amsterdam who trying out for the Olympics. We need to see their specimens too. They better not have a lick of heroin. They better not have a lick of nothing else. Opium, Xanax, none of that shit. They better not have none of that shit. And if you can prove that to me, you can bring that to me, then okay, we'll sit our little fast nigger down. You know what I'm saying? We'll give her her reprimands in private, and then she'll come back 25 years old and kick y'all ass. But until then, bro, like I said earlier, suck my dick, man. I'm sorry.
There are some women who can say suck it, and there will be something there to suck. I don't know if that would have talked about.
Hey, can you go there? Because I'm not up on that part before we talk about Breonna McNeil.
I don't know that much about it, but I do know that there is. I don't know if the person is for the U.S. or
No, they're from another country.
From another country, okay. But the Olympics is allowing a transgender woman, so somebody who was born a male, who has transitioned to female status, to compete in the Olympics as a woman.
Is it Laurel Hubbard?
I guess so. Is it?
Yep.
Yeah. So, you have one woman who's not able to compete because of a technicality, and another person that is able to compete as a woman without regard for a technicality.
From New Zealand. She's from New Zealand.
Yeah, New Zealand, yeah.
So just to add, there are two women who have too high testosterone count. And so the Olympics is making them take supplements to knock out some of their testosterone for them to be able to compete. You want, what the fuckity fuck? I was like, what?
Well,
you want me to take shit? God put this in me. What are you talking about?
Well, when you put it that way, Sedacious, let Sha'Carri play.
Yeah.
They told these two girls to go take some drugs, knock out some of that testosterone, then come retest, and then maybe you'll be in the testosterone levels the way you compete with the rest of these ladies. That's some bullshit.
I ain't gonna lie to you. That's some bullshit, and it makes me feel like, well, why the hell Sha'Carri can't run?
That's some bullshit. It ain't crack. Let her run track.
Are they doing weightlifting? All of them?
I only know about the law. Is it two women, Sedacious, that's having to take hormonal? I don't know who the other chick is. I just have this this Laurel Hubbard.
Hey, can we call them trans women so people understand that that's what we're talking about?
Oh, yeah, I don't want to mess up the terminology. Trans woman, that's the correct terminology.
They're trans people, because I just was schooled on it could be either or, so they're trans people. And
if we mess up anything, it is not out of disrespect in no way, shape, or form.
Yeah, we're just new to this.
We're new to this, so instead of criticizing us or bashing us if we're wrong about something, embrace us and educate us.
We're not making a judgment on the lifestyle itself, right? I don't think any of us are doing that. We are, at least I am. I can't speak for other brothers on the call on the pod. But, I am questioning the validity of allowing them to compete against natural born women in the sports arena. And so, yes, I am questioning that.
No, I'm not questioning it. I'm gonna go a step further, and I don't give a fuck. That shit ain't right, bro. You know what I mean? Like, it's just some things like we'll give y'all everything, and it's just like, okay, come and talk to me about that, because my daughter, who been working her whole fucking life, is essentially, technically, or not technically, whatever the fuck, I don't know what's politically correct right here. So y'all audience input what's correct right here. Has to go up against what used to be a man, not a man anymore, but like,
and
you
how
got muscles like a man, you got pecs like a man, you got biceps like a man, your testosterone levels are like a man.
And like I don't know what documentation goes into like the medical paperwork to say like, okay, based off whatever XYZ chromosome levels, like you're considered to be able to compete as a woman. But like, who's to say like how long have you quote unquote been transgender? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you competing against other women and you only technically been a transgender woman for like the last year or so? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Don't get me wrong. The fact that you are competing with Olympians says a lot. But you can't say that you ain't got that extra.
Yeah,
you do.
Yeah. So I think the Olympic Committee does have a standard on that, Edward. That's why they're making the other two people take something to lower their testosterone level, because they're not allowing. So they've come up with some formula that would try to make it as fair as possible in their eyes. So. I do know that much.
All right, so check this out. So I pulled this article up from CNBC News, January 5th, 2021, talking about transgender, like you're a woman, like, is there really advantage of you competing? And then I used the year analogy before I pulled this article up. I used is it even really that much of a difference, depending on like however long you've been like transgender. A new study suggests transgender women maintain an athletic advantage over their cisgender peers even after a year on hormone therapy. The results published last month in the British Journal of Sports Medicine could mean the current 1-year waiting period for Olympic athletes who are transitioning is inadequate. And they kind of like ran studies and used like people who were transgender, like in the military and so on and so forth. So just that little quick snippet of an article would suggest that like, even if Sedacious, I was waiting on you to come back. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, if y'all want to go read this article again, it's by CNBC News by a Dan Avery, DANAVERY. So yeah.
I think these will be my last words on this episode, because I'm going to bring it all together for me and where I stand. And it goes to what Christian is saying, and it goes to what Darnell is saying, both at the same time. The world is changing. It's so much fucking shit happening. How could you really even govern anything at this moment? Like, how could you really even like say, this is the way we need to be, or this is the way that we need to be, or this is the way we need to be collectively? Right now, it's like whatever it is that's floating your boat, live and let live at this point, because they're going to be people that disagree with what Darnell is saying. They're going to be people that disagree with what Christian is saying. And if this girl is, I'm sorry to harp on this, Edward, but if this girl is smoking her blood because her mom died, and then this man has did the transition and has went through 2, 3, 4+ years of doing the hormone therapy, who is who to say what who and who should be doing? Because we don't know if he even went through any hormone therapy. You know what I mean? Or we don't even know if they require him to show documentation that he's gone and did hormone therapy sessions before he can run in the Olympics. We don't know what the fuck. We just know whatever is broadcasted to us. And I want to say this, do not allow the television programming to infiltrate your brain. Use your brain.
The social media programming.
Thank you, Edward. You know what I'm saying? Listen to Black Peace. Black Peace is talking that shit. Go follow Christian on Twitter. He's gonna make your ass mad, but at the same time, gonna make you accountable. And that's what needs to happen in today's society. That's not happening no more. Nobody's holding nobody accountable, but everybody's fucking entitled to say something about someone else's life. Stop that shit, people.
And as our Reverend gave us that beautiful ending of a sermon, I would also like to add a revelation that I think if God came back and remade the Bible, this scripture would be somewhere in Proverbs. And it simply says, fellas, don't let a $7 sundress cost you $70,000 in child support this summer. So I'll leave that with y'all. We didn't get to Brianna McNeil, but again, if you're going to be a part of this podcast, going to be a fan, we encourage y'all to not limit your quote unquote information to social media snapshots and snippets. Go research, read 2 or 3 articles if you can, and come back later and discuss the conversation with us. Get in the comments, whether you like the conversation or hated the conversation. We truly hope that you respected the conversation.
Get in the comments about Brianna McNeil. Sorry to cut you off, brother. Get in the comments. If you're watching, if you're going to watch, get in the comments about Brianna McNeil. We do need to talk about that. That is serious, because this just past voting that we did, they had a whole state decide that women can't fucking have an abortion. And there was not one man on this goddamn voters panel, but all of them decided, oh yeah, y'all women, don't do that shit no more. So we're not gonna revisit that, because I see Christian looking at me. Get in the comments so me and Christian can comment to y'all in the comments. Me and him gonna get into it with y'all in the comments.
And as a teaser for next week's episode, Sedacia said whatever the law that just passed on abortion was had to do with a face full of men. Brianna McNeil dealing with her situation as it relates to an abortion, and that having something to do with tampering with her getting a drug test. The board that she had to go before for appeals was full of men as well. So just a little snippet as we get into that next week, which I can't wait. I hate we didn't get to it this week, but I didn't want to prolong. We still got great conversation.
Hey, bro. Hey, Edward, dog. We had a short pod last week, dog.
We did.
We might as well just get into it, bro.
No, bro.
Watch the game. It's halftime? Because you're not a basketballer. That's why you said that. It's halftime. Hell no.
I just gotta get off by 11 because I got an assignment to turn in by 11:59.
Bro, just get yours, because this is what it's 10:14 for you now. So you got to turn it in by midnight.
I got 45 minutes.
No, let's just wait till next week.
Wait.
It may be a developing story on top of that. Who knows? We don't know.
Wait. Can we just do 2 takes? Because if your take is different from my take on that, then I won't respond.
I mean, but if y'all both saying y'all take this, like talking about it.
Bro,
that's like doing it.
Yo, you said it.
All right. I'll set it up for the fans, because at this point, if we end it, they'll probably think we some hoe ass niggas. All right. So
No. There goes.
All right. So Brianna McNeil. Damn, we're talking about this. All right.
Bro, no, we're not talking about it. We were supposed to in the comments.
I don't know.
All right, no, Christian, you do your take. Edward, you
I
out of it?
don't know. I don't know that much about it. That's why.
And he ready to talk about it like he knows.
No, because the information I'm hearing right now is like, oh snap, this is some good stuff.
What's it?
Oh no, no. Okay, so
all right.
No.
How about this? All right. I'll set it up depending on the length because we like at like 55 minutes, right? So that gives us like a 10-minute window to try to have an hour, 15-minute episode. If it runs long, I'll just cut it in half, make it an episode by itself. All right, so Breonna McNeil, right? So after you had Sha'Carri Richardson, we talked about the transgender women with the powerlifting. Now we have to the forefront of Breonna McNeil. Who is Breonna McNeil? Well, Breonna McNeil is an African-American woman who has a prior gold medal, I want to say, in Rio back in 2016 for the 100-meter hurdles. She is now 29 years old. She just received a 5-year ban from the Olympics for this current Olympics coming up in Tokyo for 2021, and it will also also disqualify her from competing in the Paris Olympics of 2024, right? Emax, why is she being banned from the Olympics? She is being banned. I'm reading this from yahoo.com. She received a 5-year ban because she was accused of tampering with the doping process after she missed a drug test in January of 2020. Yo, wait a minute. She should what? She missed it. She couldn't reschedule. Like, what's the big deal? Now, her reasoning for missing this drug test is because she had an abortion procedure done. Right? Okay. So does that mean like what does that mean? Like what all goes into that? Right. So she had this procedure. You have to listen closely. Again, if it sounds confusing, go read it for yourself. Reading this from USA Today. She underwent a surgery on January 10th, but the notes, she underwent a surgery on January 10th, but changed the notes to indicate that the procedure took place on January 11th. Right? The drug test that she had scheduled was for the next day, which is January 12th. So she had the abortion procedure on the 10th. Through the legal documentation of her trying to get an appeal for why she had missed the original drug test, she had put January 11th, and she had the drug test that she missed on January 12th. So the Olympic anti-doping committee shows up to her home, knocking on the door. She doesn't answer. They rule that as like, a violation. Yo, why didn't you answer? What's going on? Yo, I just recently came off an abortion procedure. I was doped up, sedated, still kind of recovering from that mentally. I didn't hear anyone knocking at my door. All right, so your doctors and stuff like that, they said that on their notes or their paperwork that you submitted to us voluntarily, you had this abortion procedure on the 10th. Why did you then change it and say you had it on the 11th? That was a bad day for me. I was recovering from the day before. I was mentally out of it. I mean, I thought they had it wrong. I was still kind of like on my meds from that procedure. It's a lot that goes on to that traumatic experience. I was recovering. I was out of it. Yeah, we're not going to go for that because we just feel like you're really just trying to manipulate when you actually had this. And that's the reason why you didn't actually show up on the 12th to answer the door when we were knocking for you to take the anti-drug test. And so quoting, hold on, let me check sure I'm reading this correctly. So also from Yahoo or USA, I'm not sure which one this was from, but the anti-doping committee felt that the wrong date listed for the abortion was done intentionally to deceive the anti-doping officials and avoid being penalized for missing the drug test. Again, The actual abortion procedure happened on the 10th. She said it happened on the 11th. She missed her drug test on the 12th. Now, all of this could seem like, yo, big misunderstanding. I'm not a woman. Get that woman some slack. Like, yo, like, come on, bro. It's an abortion. That's already a tough procedure. And like, she a woman, so who's to say she wanted her business out there like that to begin with? And she admitted that she actually did the abortion so that she could be able to compete in the Olympics coming up. You know what I'm saying? But again, if you're going to be a part of this fan base of a podcast, you got to go do your research and read 2 or 3 articles if you can. So you would think that if this was a first time offense, it should be water under the bridge. She should be given some grace. But in 2017, she also had a situation where she was banned for a year because she failed to show up for a drug test. So this particular situation wasn't a first time offense. Let me see how long it is. All right, so since this process, she originally applied for an appeal, and that's why she was able to compete in the Olympic trials. Right. Just in case they clear her to play, if she placed in the top 3, she could go on to Tokyo.
Right. This was during the appeal process.
During the appeal process. So she wrote out this on Twitter or Instagram. I sat through two hearings held in April. I sat through 2 hearings held April 2021 and July 2021 and listened to white European men tell me how my experience doesn't match their perspective. They criticized me and overly judged my decision-making, completely ignoring the fact that I was under physical and mental trauma after undergoing an abortion. And that I was not in the right mental capacity when making certain decisions. They never expressed sympathy with my situation. At my second hearing, they even brought in a clinical psychiatrist to undermine my mental health. I watched them try to discredit my doctor we used to testify about abortion stigma. I couldn't stop thinking to myself, how could these men tell me what type of experience I should have had? How can these men who would never in a million years be in my shoes tell me anything I should be going through? So instead of being met with some sort of compassion and understanding, I was being interrogated and stigmatized. And mind you, this is only because she missed the drug test. It's not because she actually took a test and they found some and they found some in her system or anything. It's only because she didn't take it the day that it was scheduled for her to take. And there was also another quote from another article where the anti-doping committee or whatever said that like the in between those dates of January 10th, 11th, and 12th, they said that they looked at her social media activity and it would suggest that she wasn't all out of it as she would suggest that she was. So that's that I believe I did my job in giving y'all every spectrum, every side of it. If I were accidentally leaving something out, I don't think it would take away from all the meat and potatoes that I gave you. I may have forgot to give you a straw with your drink. If so, I apologize. I'll go back and bring that back later. But yeah, there you go.
Also, you forgot to mention that they denied her appeal for no documentation whatsoever. They denied her with no documentation.
Yeah. And again here, and don't forget, she's 29 years old and she has a 5-year ban. So she's gonna miss the 2021 Tokyo Olympics and the 2024 Paris Olympics. Yeah. So
yeah. Today, so you want to go first?
No, you go. You got it.
Hey, I wish I had the Kevin Samuels, bruh. I mean, okay. First off, I have no patience, none whatsoever, for the "you're a man, you don't understand my experience" bull crap, bullshit snazzle, right? There's a technicality, right? There is a, hey, you're supposed to show up at X time. we already are skeptical of you because of something that happened in the past. So we're looking at you with skepticism and you don't show up. Then we look and see, hey, there's something fishy going on with the paperwork. And so it doesn't matter what you went through the days before and all that stuff. There's something other in your history that shows a pattern of you not going along with what we got going on here. Beyond all the other stuff, I'm not here to tell you what you should and should not do with your body. I'm not here to tell you what moral compass that you should have regard to that. I'm here to say that in the past, we were trying to get something done. We couldn't get it done. There were some issues with it. So we came a second time thinking, hey, just look out. There might be something. And then there comes something. Not only do you miss, paperwork's not right. Oh snap. You know, you said maybe this, maybe that, da, da, da. Then we're looking on social media. Hey, you know what? It's not all adding up. Out this year, out next one. We'll see you in 5 years. I have no sympathy for this woman at all. I have none. There's nothing that anybody can say to get me to change my stance on this. No. Again, you need to go back. This woman needs to go back, listen to the first part of the podcast. There's a woman, 8 years your junior, who knows how to handle the situation. Hey, I effed up. I'll see y'all next time. That's how you need to handle the situation. You ain't gonna get nowhere talking about how the white European man doesn't understand my experience. Real crap.
Hey, before you go to that, one thing that I've noticed early before like we get on like the mainstream of like podcasting is that like us is like, you know, us like growing together more and more as like brothers, like episode by episode is like you're gonna have to be very comfortable standing next to fire on this. But you good, go Sedation.
All right, so that's easy. Thank you, Christian. You're both right and wrong. You're right when it comes to if you've already fucked up before, you need to be on double time next time going in there. I will give you that 10 times out of 10 every time. Where I feel like you're wrong is not being sympathetic to her being a woman. Simply for not because she's just a woman, but because we have no way of telling these women how to feel after abortions or what it be. But for the simple fact that she already had some shit going on before, and she used the abortion, and it kind of muddied some shit up again for her. Yeah, that like I can see the optics show that like, yo, you're creating a pattern. But at the same time, if it's been documented that she went and actually, in fact, got that abortion on the 10th, and they're not even giving, they like, well, you could have possibly been on meds and you could have possibly put the wrong date, but fuck that. We don't give a fuck. We have all our expertise who are not women at all to come and say, this is why you should have been over that shit on the 11th. You got the abortion on the 10th. We got this specialist, the specialist to say you should have been over that shit by the 11th. And it's like, no one can tell no woman like that. Like we can't tell them, you know what I mean, when they should have been over the shit. Yeah, she should have been on top of her shit a little bit more, given the fact that she had that shit coming up and she's getting ready to do an abortion with all of those dates being close. Yeah, she probably should have did a better job of structuring that, planning that itinerary out. But going into the process of the appeal, it's called an appeal for a reason. You're not supposed to be like extra judgy and extra stern on the appeal. The appeal is where you go and listen to both sides, kind of iron everything out, and then you go and be like, look here, bitch, can you do the drug test today? And when you don't even give her that one, that's when it's like, I can't necessarily say y'all not trying to keep her.
I hear what you're saying and I understand it, but I think like the word appeal is a very slippery slope. Appeal don't mean like you guarantee anything.
No, it don't. But what I said is they said no, and we have no documentation. Now to go through something as rigorous as her appeal process, And then at the end of it, be like, you can't compete and we ain't got no reason for you. Like, come on, kid. Come on, kid. Like, and then she went through an abortion. You know what I mean? You know, she had to go through the emotions of having an abortion to probably have to go and get her.
Wait, they said that they're not giving her a reason why they're.
So it's the judge ruled, the appeal denied without no documentation as to why. Is what I read on NBC Sports.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't know how we want to label like no documentation, but from what I was getting, is they just basically feels like she's deceived. She was being deceiving with like the date switch up as a way to like opt out as to why she didn't actually show up on the scheduled day to take.
It's her fuck up. It's her fuck up. Yeah. It's her fuck up. It's her. Don't do that shit. But now I want to appeal that fuck up through that process to appeal the 5-year ban, because while I'm going through the process of appealing the 5-year ban, I'm gonna try out. I'm gonna do this because if y'all fuck around and appeal it for me when I'm thinking should happen for me, you know what I'm saying? Y'all have heard me talk about me having an abortion. You heard me say that I was doped up. You heard me say that I was confused. I'm thinking that maybe you're gonna provide me a little bit of leeway.
Nah,
so I'm gonna go and try out. I'm gonna go and try out and thinking that I'm gonna make it to where I'm gonna make it to. Try out. I kill. I fucking kill.
Yeah.
And then you tell me, yeah, no, you're not.
But here's the thing, real quick. I understand where you're coming from all the way, but like, as it relates to this situation, like I equate it to like, all right, you're using the word appeal, right? And like, oh, well, they didn't give her a reason why they didn't like approve her appeal. Like it's almost like a challenge of a technical foul or a challenge play in the NFL. Like if we're not gonna reverse the call, the play stands. It is what it is. Like there's no explanation to that. Like we keeping it the same.
That ain't the logistics of having an appeal though. We appealed on the grounds of we don't we denied the appeal, and yeah, you deal with that. That ain't how, you know what I'm saying, the logistics work. That's just from me knowing legal shit. You know what I'm saying? That ain't, you know what I'm saying? When you get a letter, they don't say.
We might have to bring Stacey Childs Esquire back on to figure that one out. Hey, just real quick though, I just want to respond to this. I'm not trying to tell her, and I don't think the white European men that were doing her case, I don't think that they are trying to tell her how to feel about her experience after a traumatic experience like an abortion. I'm not trying to do that. I don't think any of them are trying to do that. I don't know them, but I'm saying I'm not trying to do that. What I am doing is I am not factoring that into your responsibility. Here's something that, and I'm really finna get us all canceled. So Elway, this is executive.
Yeah, you are. You are. You're not gonna get us canceled though. I'm getting ready to say, right? That's the problem.
Women, when you come into male spaces, right, you have to abide by the rules. It is what it is. It is what it is, right? When there was only men competing, and it was only men in the boardroom, when it was only men doing whatever, right? There were certain rules that were put in place. You're saying, hey, this is how we're going to compete, this is how we're going to do things, right? It is what it is. Don't come in here and say, well, hey, now you have to consider. Because the reason you got there was said, we can do what men can do. Okay, then come do what men can do. If Sedacious comes in and says, hey, I had a bad day, I missed it, my bad. My mama died. I got beat up, whatever. I got in a car accident, whatever. They're going to look at him and say, hey, you knew what day this was. You had to be here. And he can cry all he wants to about his experience of his car accident or his mama dying or him getting shot. And they're going to say, I don't care. And so, because that's relevant to you had something you had to do. You had to be here. So that's all I got to say. So you can decide if you want to cut that out or not. But
no, leave that in, bro, because I feel like that right there is a problem with the world all the way around. And why we'll always be divided is because men who have run the world, and they get me too at this moment too. Like they're thinking with that chauvinistic mindset that you've come into this man space. It's like, nah, nigga, we're fucking equal. It's like, it's not a man's space no more. It's everybody's space.
I'm not saying this.
So since everybody has to go through certain things, as women, bro, men have to understand that we don't have woman bodies. So that is not something that we can really put a timetable on. An abortion is not nothing you can put a timetable on. As far as my mom dying, or I got into a car accident 2 days ago. That's some crazy shit.
I'm not trying to put a timeline on an abortion. I'm not trying to put a timeline on an abortion. What I'm trying to say is that anybody, if you want to be treated like an equal, I'm going to treat you like an equal. You just said that. You said we're equals. Okay. Mm-hmm. If we're equals, when something bad happens to you, when you go through a traumatic experience, even something like you getting shot, if you're able to walk and get up, you're supposed to be here.
So wait, you're equating everything to an abortion, and you can't do that because you're not a man.
Okay. So again, so either Sedacious, either we're equals or we're not. Either we are or we not. So if we're equals, we got the same. If we're equals, we got the same standard. If something bad happens to you, if you go through a traumatic experience, and I expect you to be here on X date, or you be able to, or you at least let us know what's going on X date, then that needs to happen. It doesn't matter what happens to you.
So,
like I treat everybody else.
So let me interject, Christian. So like, I don't know if like the conversation or the topic is like changing in terms of just like your personal view on the whole. We want women are equal, or women want to be equal to men. Like, you just like, do you have a vendetta with that quote, or like that stance of America, or like, because I feel like it's like shifted from.
I don't have a vendetta with it. What I have a vendetta with is when I see or hear women when they want to be treated the same, like, hey, we can do this. But then once they get there, they try to change the rules. And it's like, wait a second, either you're the same or you're not. And we need to deal with that reality.
Right now, the way you're talking is as if you're talking about all women, which I don't think you are. I think you're just talking to a specific group of women who feel like treat us the same as y'all treat men.
Yes. Well. I have to.
I'm just trying to help you walk through it. That's all.
That's fine. I don't mind if I get beat up on this. That's fine. I'll get beat up on it. I'm lumping all women in together because
it's no saving them.
Yeah, you're not saving me on this. The reason why I'm lumping all women together is because also too. Hey, look, I treat my daughter as if she could do whatever she wants to do. The way I would treat my son, I treat my daughter. When she falls, right, I pick her up. I ask her, hey, did you get up? And what happened? I fell. Okay, did you get up? Yes, that's all that matters. You got up. I'm not worried about you falling. You fall, you got to get back up. That's how I treat my daughter, because I feel like she could do whatever my son will be able to do, right? She has the same rules, the same standard. If that's how we're going to play it, if we're going to say that, hey, we're equal, all right, let's be equal. Or if we're going to say that, hey, look, we're not, then deal with that reality. But when you come into a space and there's a particular standard, you got to rise up to the standard.
I'm gonna say this as it relates to that situation revolved around Brianna McNeil. In terms of like, I won't question, like, I mean, yeah, it sucks, like she messed up, right? Like I said, I read something that said like she actually had the abortion so she could compete for the Olympics, and I believe she's also married. So I'm not just to act like that was an easy decision, like it is what it is. Like, oh, she got an abortion, you know what I'm saying? So like, to sacrifice your child for something you hope to have done, and now you can't even do it for the next 5 years or the next 2 Olympics coming up.
Because niggas feel like you're supposed to be equal.
That sucks. But what I have a question for the both of y'all. I'm gonna ask it, but I'm gonna say something afterwards. when is it okay to change rules? Like, I understand, like, yo, this is what it is. This is what it's always been. Obviously, we live in a world, and the world ain't gonna be perfect. I understand that, and I'm not even gonna come close to disputing that. But is it ever okay to look at an establishment or a certain set of rules to be like, just because that's been the same way it's always been doesn't mean it's right? It should be changed. Like, when is it okay to change, or how should we go about trying to change it? And just in general, what if we want to make it pertain to this conversation, fine. But and listening to her quote and saying, it could have been a bunch of black men she was talking about. I'm not fazed at the fact that she said a bunch of like European men. Maybe if it was a group of black men, they would have felt like, all right, we're gonna look out for this black woman. Right. But I think I would like to see, I think on the behalf of the benefit of women, whether they claim it to be equal or not, when you talk about, and if y'all have a problem with us talking about women and we don't have women on the podcast, just forgive us. Like, give us some grace, please. We show women love on this podcast. We may bring one back on to help us talk through this, depending on how it goes. But as it relates to the Olympics and this situation with Brianna McNeil, I think there should now be steps for women before her coming along. And we talk about how like, you know, like Allison Felix just recently had a baby, and you know, and I think it happened before the Olympics or whatever. But like, if there's only men in these situations dealing with Brianna McNeil, I think like we should be like, yo, we need to get women in this position. Now, if women are in this position and they still feel the same way, hey, it is what it is at that point. But I do think there's a big piece of like validity in being like, they probably gave her nobody's thought of a second chance or an appeal, because like they men and they could care less what she proclaimed to be going through. And I don't think we could tell women what it's like to be a man, and I don't think we as men can assume or even fathom what it's like to actually be a woman. You know what I'm saying?
You would think a racist white man, if he wasn't racist, would want to do his best and like maybe like give some leniency to show that he ain't racist. But it's just like, nah, I'm just gonna do what I got to do. I can hide behind the fact that I got these rules, but you know, you're not racist.
Yeah, I think
I don't think it was a racist thing.
I don't think it was racist either.
Yeah, to answer your question real quick, Edward, is there ever a time to change rules? Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. All right, not sure. There's a time to change rules, right? But I think, and there's a time to change standards. But I think at the end of the day, especially for this particular situation, and for many situations, right? The way that anybody else would be treated. The thing is that we try to make every situation subjective. We try to make every situation like, they're doing this because of that, they're doing this because of that, doing this because of that, right? When there was a time before us, a couple generations before, where Black folks only wanted objective standards because they feared that when there was subjective standards, that we were getting the wrong end of those. So they said, hey, let's give us all the same objective standards. As long as we all get the same objective standard, then we would know if we made it or not based off of what we had going on. These men tried to use that, and now it's an issue. Hey, you're supposed to be here. We weren't satisfied with your reason for not being here. You're done. Objective standard.
Even if you don't want to show Brianna McNeil any type of grace in this situation, I'm talking about you or you, Christian or Sedacious, just anybody out there. I think moving forward, we got to get women in those rooms moving forward. Whether it's on the rule committee, on the appeal committee dealing with women, I think women need to be in the room. That's just my personal opinion.
To answer your question, Edward, it's still old dudes reffing the NBA and the NFL. And I still be like, what the fuck? Why the fuck we still got these old niggas reffing these young ass, fast ass motherfuckers? I'm calling like 15 fouls that none of these old ass motherfuckers have seen.
Hey, hold on, man. I ain't gonna let you do that to the NFL. You had a white woman ref in the Super Bowl, and I think you had a black woman in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So,
but the majority of them is what?
The majority of them are men, but women just got there.
They old as fuck. I'm not talking about shit changing. I'm not talking about men and women. I'm talking about shit changing and needs to be changing because I'm tired of seeing referees fall on the floor in goddamn NBA. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of seeing NFL referees get hit with the ball and shit. Like, bro, get out the way. You know what I mean? So, yes, I think shit needs to be ever changing, always evolving. Like, if you ain't comfortable with change, then it's just gonna roll over you. And so,
I mean, some people don't have to be comfortable with change because the current state of the rules benefit them the most. So why change it?
Exactly. But they coming for your ass too. Don't think you finna sit pretty. Every day coming for your ass.
What you say? Never on your ass.
You comfortable now, but boy,
I'll always be here to defend the old, tried and true.
Nigga, bro, you gonna be boy? Because I'm saying they out here, boy.
Yeah, man.
Here. The women in the LGBTQ community have teamed up, and we are in trouble.
They come to the game, bro. I'm pissed off everybody. Pissed off black folks. I'm pissed off women and LGBTQ,
bro. Hey, so
megaphone. I went at megaphone.
Women, I need y'all to know before Edward sign us off that I understand. Someone on the Respect the Game podcast understands that we would never have an abortion, and we can't talk about that shit whatsoever. And the fact that we would ever try to, please forgive us. I apologize in advance. I'm done.
And to all the women, I'm gonna tell you like I tell my wife. It don't matter if we understand or not. Forget us. We don't care. We don't matter. Y'all are in control of your own world. Forget us. Forget what we think. Do what you want to do. Forget us.
Y'all deny the appeal. Until we deny the appeal, then y'all coming for it.
Yeah, man. Get some women in those boardrooms to kind of govern women's rules in the Olympics. But yeah, beautiful people. Thank y'all for listening to us. Yeah, man. Please, whether you hate it or love it, please comment, retweet, get on our ass, whatever the case may be. Just give us some love in the comments. We're gonna take it all as we continue on to grow. Don't take y'all listening for granted. And again, if you're going to continue being a true fan of the podcast, don't limit your quote unquote research and information to snapshots and Snapchats of Instagram and Twitter posts. Right. Thank you, beautiful people. We'll see you next week. This is the Respect the Game podcast.